Okay, so hi, my name is Maja Voje and I flew here from Slovenia, not Slovakia, to tell you a thing or two about AI agents. Now, the funny thing is that the population of my entire country is approximately there with Krakow and its surrounding cities, so I'm actually feeling big city vibes here. Let's see how we are doing as a group first. Who here is already actively building and selling AI agents? Hands up, please. Awesome. We have a couple of makers. That's great. Okay, how about, has somebody been experimenting with N8N, Lirayep, just like Make, to just like see if we can build an AI agent? Okay, super. Thank you. Now, strictly between you and I. Who here thinks that AI agents are a complete scam, that this is the next blockchain, crypto, and is face palming? What are we even doing here? Okay, I think I will survive. Well, in my experiences, we are just scratching the stage of early majority. AI agents are definitely here to stay. In the last year and a half, I have taken 37 AI agents to market. And I'm not only talking about those AI native companies, we will mention a couple of those during the presentation, but also big companies such as Miro, Amplitude, Ahrefs, everybody's playing with AI. What I did learn on all these journeys is that sometimes go-to-market for AI agents is drastically different from whatever I was facing before in SaaS world. So here are just like 4 lessons that I have learned, and I would love to share it with you today, that make this unique agentic journey unlike anything that I have seen in the last 10 years of my career. Lesson number 1 is actually very funny. Instead of product-led, we often go sales-led with AI agents. I explain you why. Next, when it comes to pricing, you are seeing these credits everywhere. I give you 10,000 credits, and you as a customer still think, okay, what am I getting with these 10,000 credits? I mean, how many emails can I send? What's up with that? So next, there is something that works amazingly well for AI agents as a go-to-market motion. This is ecosystem marketing, partnerships, where one customer could literally bring you 10 customers. And last but not least, there is a micro lesson attached to my presentation. So how can we, as humans, elevate our workflows and do better with AIs? Let's jump directly into lesson number 1. Sales-led for the win. Why? Because big adoption can lead to big problems really fast. Okay, in the majority of cases, I work with extremely technical people, so technical branders, product managers, and their ideal go-to-market journey would literally be launch somewhere, maybe product hunt, maybe post on socials, then people will love it so much that they will bring in all the friends. So they are naturally gravitating towards product-led. Whereas in reality, especially with AI agents, we often have to do very old-school sales. For example, we are selling out emails, DMs, or we are even doing very old-school sales, such as multiple touchpoints, conferences, displays, whatnots. Now, why is that? Why is this old school so appropriate for AI agents? I could identify 3 reasons that make these journeys drastically different to anything else. First reason is just like state of tech. If I told you that I will let in your CRM maybe 200 AI agents and they will send 10,000 emails to your customers per day, and no worries, humans, you will be fine. You don't have to work. You would probably freak out for a sec. Why? Because AI agents can still go a little bit nuts sometimes. They can act out. And we usually deploy them first in smaller control environments to see what is happening before we earn the right to automate before users trust that this is producing good, tangible results for them. So this one, trust, is especially important whenever we are dealing with anything AI. People are also a little bit afraid sometimes for their jobs, so we have to act gently. And last but not least, real adoption, real costs. Whereas people said, like last year, that the cost of AI model is going to go down 10 times, that didn't happen. Newer models are still super expensive. So whenever we have this idea that we will bring on the website 10,000 people and maybe 1,000 will start free trial, yeah, my friends, if we are not bringing the right type of people who will actually pay for this, we could be in financial problems. We might be losing money, whereas people are happily using our products. And that ain't perfect, especially if we are bootstrapping. A much more successful approach that I have seen working incredibly well for companies in my network is this one: outreach with a case study, which is embedded in the principle, earn the right to automate. What's going on is that first we are doing pilots. We are just like thinking if the technology plays well within their existing tech stack and if it produces good, measurable results for them. Once we are over this stage in which technology normalizes, we can go and expand our projects or create a case study, testimonials. We are beyond use cases as an industry. Now people will want to see tangible results. And we can use this to attract the next batch of customers. If I told you that I saved an energy company $600,000, guess who else would be interested in taking this agent for a spin, right? This is how things work. And one of the companies that have done a tremendously great job at implementing the first principle is Momentum. Momentum is a revenue operation platform. Imagine it as a sales tool, so it records your calls, it automatically updates your sales force, and gives your salespeople intelligence to close the deals faster. Now, if you are just like seeing this website, you will see that it is cluttered with social proof. There are videos, there are numbers, there are logos everywhere. Why? Earn the right to automate, trust. Who else would benefit from these solutions? The second thing that you will see is that there isn't like free trial, take this for a spin. No, you have to apply for a demo. And you will not get a demo if you are not using Salesforce, because they would literally be losing time with you. You could not integrate. And the last one, which is really cool in terms of branding and positioning, is that this website actually does not even talk about agents. Instead, they are positioning and presenting it as end-to-end platform to get the job done. So it's not only this scrappy mechanism to get the first customers. This company raised $12 million from stage 2 capital, and they are growing for 400% year to year. So whenever I say sales, old school, it doesn't necessarily mean that we cannot scale this. And I don't know about you, but I'm a very pragmatic person. So whenever I'm listening to presentation, I'm all the time thinking like, is this something that I can implement? What is it for me? Do I get added value out of this? What's up here? So I created action points after every section that we go through. And my first action point for you is literally to think and take a mental or a physical note if you could be using this approach. Outreach with a case study. And how will you get first customers for your AI products? Are we done thinking? Great. Now we can move to the second one, pricing. I like pricing. This is how we make money. But I don't like it when people are just like telling me random number of credits that I don't understand. So we need to do a better job in terms of communicating pricing and value added to our customers. One of the companies in my network that has done tremendously great job at making pricing simple and comprehensible is Swan. Swan is an AI SDR. These are those those lovely technologies that you put on your website, and then they identified who there is interesting for you, who is actually a customer, target customer, and sends them DMs, right? And they could be saying to me, you would get 10,000 credits. Sure, that would be one way. But a much better way is to position it in a way where me, as a marketer who knows her website traffic, can decide which is the right package for me. And once we agree how much approximately will I be paying for this, we can pursue a very productive conversation. And I am much more likely to take this demo if I at least have a comprehension whether this is a 10K technology or it is a $500 technology that I can actually afford. So that's definitely good. But what is super, super, super interesting is that here, this is not the only way how we are communicating and doing pricing. In fact, industry is moving towards outcome-based pricing, when you would only pay once the agents actually perform the job. When they resolve your support ticket, when they book a meeting for you, right? But that's easier said than done, because in the majority of cases, humans and AI are co-creating this value. So in reality, what we see is a lot of this hybrid pricing. Maybe a little bit of fixed fee, and then some credits attached to it. For the rest, you would pay. But I know that this is a little bit boring, but it's definitely worth tackling. Why? Because with AI agents, you can capture much more added value than with traditional SaaS products. In traditional SaaS, we are capturing from 10 to 30% of added value. Here, we can go up to 50. So this stuff is hot. If you tackle pricing, this metrics is the favorite way from product managers that are orienting in the pricing arena. This is where you really unlock a very powerful growth lever. But last but not least, you have to answer a very fundamental question that your customer will ask on demo, on the sales calls, and just when they are figuring stuff out, if it is working for them. The majority of AI agents are in B2B space. And in B2B, you know that you often have a decision-making group. So multiple people taking the decision together. So they need to pass the compliance. She needs to budget for this on a yearly basis. Maybe she's even forced to negotiate some sort of discount on a yearly basis. And for her, it is really, really, really important to have this information that she can present further on to the company. And I need to make this job easier for her, because it's not her job to figure out pricing. How much will it cost her? It's my job as a product maker to do that. And the next action point is really simple. Conduct willingness to pay research. You need to really nail not only how much, but how will you be charging your customers. Now, we have multiple methods how to do this. My favorite one, because I talk a lot, is just to hop on a couple of sales calls, present the price point, shut up, and see what happens. My product manager friends actually prefer to do interviews or pricing surveys where they are measuring on a larger sample of data whether some price point would be ridiculously expensive, what would be suspiciously cheap. So there are a lot of ways how to figure that out. But please figure that out, because that is #1 conversion breaker in AI pricing right now, that people don't understand how much will they end up paying for this one. Okay, cool. Now that we approximately understand what we are doing, how we are selling, and for how much are we selling, it's time to create some scale. And one of the things that I have been seeing working incredibly well for AI agents is ecosystem marketing, where one customer could potentially bring in 10 customers. I was massively inspired by the go-to-market journeys by these two companies in my network. Clay is a data enrichment platform, so whenever you are trying to figure it out how to contact someone, they can serve you data. And HeyRich is a platform on which you can send LinkedIn DMs, similarly as you have platforms to send out emails. And both have one thing in common. It's outreach space. And for the majority of people, outreach is very scary. when they are starting it out, right? What would it mean if I have to send out 50,000 emails? Will people block me? Will I lose my LinkedIn account, right? It's very scary to do this alone. So naturally, in the customer journey, there are agencies. They want to outsource this part of work to somebody else. And what you will see on these growth curves is that agencies have been one of the first segments that those companies have been focused on. And I wanted to see if that works for my companies as well. Meet Ecowin. Ecowin is a platform on which you can make AI voice agents. You know, those lovely AI receptionists, press 2 for English. And the end beneficiary of those AI receptionists is usually a very traditional service business. So this is like a legal office, a car repair shop, maybe a restaurant. And now think about these companies for a sec. It is very unlikely that they will even make their own websites. Now try to get them to install like AI voice agents. It was very natural that we wanted to include agencies in this mechanism of value delivery for AI agents in voice too. And what we did is actually a very shy test. We just opened another section on the website when we said that they could white label our platform so that they decide pricing, that they do support for their customers, and that they can like brand it as they want. And we just left it there for a week or something like that. We happily realized that 200 agencies applied to partner up to be our white label partners, and approximately a half of them were qualified. They had enough money to actually pay for these technologies. That meant qualified in this case. But we didn't let them in at the same time, because in the product team there were only like 10 people, and imagine if you suddenly have to have their 100 agencies to onboard. We let them in batches. Why? Because lesson number 1, stakes are high. Each agency could potentially bring in anywhere from 30 to 170 partners. So if I do my job well, even for free white label agency partners, I have tripled my user base, which is quite strong. I like that. Cool. And whenever I'm talking about stuff such as like one customer will bring in 10 customers, I might sound like a pyramid marketer, but in fact I am talking about a very legitimate go-to-market motion, predictable and scalable way how to get customers. Remember, from the examples that we analyze, this need for partnership was actually embedded in the customer journey itself. This is how customers wanted to have this work done. And this is my next invitation for you to consider if partnerships could work for you. There are multiple ways how to do partnerships. Product co-development, affiliate partners, reseller partners. There are thousands of types. So just like consider for a sec if this is a channel on which you could unlock your big growth lever. Okay, nobody looks that excited. So we can move to the next and the final lesson, which is supercharge yourself with AI, which personally makes me very nervous but very excited at the same time. You have probably been following those growth records from companies such as Lovable, 11 Labs, OpenAI, Cursor, and those teams have literally redefined the game. Never have I ever, in my 15 years of working in tech sector, seen somebody grow to 100 million ARR so fast. So I became naturally nervous as a human. What is the role of human in modern days go-to-market? What's going on there? But I always like to run towards my fears. So I started to prototyping the project, if I can implement this in my business. Where did I start? I started with inbound. This is us creating content for LinkedIn and emails. Why? 2 reasons. First, I waste 15 hours a week creating content. I don't like that. Second, content creates 70% of our pipeline, our business opportunities. So I put down this workflow. I was listing all the documents, all the roles, all the processes, and then I re-envisioned how we can do this work using more AI. And I came with a proposal that we would just like create a knowledge base with our assets, with our knowledge documents, then a couple of AI writers, one for LinkedIn, one for emails, one for research, but the fun, agentic part happens in the distribution part of this process. So we have a couple of AI agents. One of them is doing the research, mood boards, which visuals work well for my competitors, so that we can recreate them as well. The second one is really fun. This is like AI SDR. From people who engage with my content, we are extracting people that we would like to do business with, and I start social selling to them sooner than later. And the last one is just like my content coach. So based on the performance that we are getting from this workflow, it coaches me how we can do a better job. This work is far from over. So far, I spend still 10 hours a week doing content, but we already see like improvements in pipeline. So I'm excited about this one. However, inbound, this content creation was not the only go-to-market motion that has experienced radical changes since we have started to live in the age of AI. By now, it is more likely that you will get an email from an AI than a human. What is interesting is that teams are testing thousands of AI-generated creatives in paid advertising that are often outperforming our ads. And we even see changes in some really old-school channels, such as sales. So we talked about momentum, call recording, creating docs automatically, and everything is changing so fast. It's really hard for me to keep up in my industry. So I have to ask myself, what will not change? Where does our human carbon intelligence still outbeats AI? And my assumptions so far are just like creative thinking, relationships, being authentic, making sure that you have good relationships with others. But okay, this is warm and fuzzy. Where I think we outbeat AI completely is just like we are the makers of AI. We are architecturing these workflows and these processes. And the second thing are just like strategic choices and trade-offs, right? When we really have to make hard trade-offs. Whereas I do believe that AI is here to stay, I'm also inherently thinking about what's the role of human in this journey. And that leads me to the final action point that I have for you, which is think about AI. When it is raining on some Saturday, think about how you can bring more AI to your workflows and where can you really outshine AI as a human. Now, I like to start with the tasks that I hate most because I'm naturally motivated to get rid of them, but I also love to make sure that I have tangible added value from those pilots, that it's not like an AI agent who is inventing names for my dogs. I only have 2 dogs, they already have names. So, okay, after we went through all the 4 lessons, let me just take 30 seconds to repeat them to really make sure that you remember them. Lesson number 1, sales-led for the win, because big adoption can lead to big problems. You want to start in control environments to make sure that things are stable. Second, pricing. Please do a better job than just like throw those 10,000 credits on your website. Customer needs to understand how much are they going to end up paying for this. Third, ecosystem marketing and partnerships, especially when tied to the customer journey, could be a massive lever of adoption. This is how you explode your growth curves. And fourth, just think about AI. Play around with it, see how it can help you. Cool. That leads me to the final invitation that I have for you. The model that I was using during this presentation for the visual is called Go-to-Market Power Hour. Yes, you can scan the QR code. I can move on the other place of the stage. And this model has been used by 9,000 companies already. it comes for free as a Miro board. I even recorded a 40-minute video of me developing go-to-market strategy end-to-end. end, so you can surely apply it with your team, which is really cool because we are just like at the edge of Q4 and Black Friday is coming and there are so many good things that we can do. So brilliant tool for planning. Unfortunately, we don't have time for Q&A in this session, but if somebody has any questions, if they just want to continue the conversations or even doesn't agree with anything that I have said today, you're welcome to connect on LinkedIn. I love to talk with folks. With that, I wish you nothing but a lot of success, a lot of awesome insights and great adventures on your go-to-market endeavors, and let's go to market.